Friends of Sam. It really is my pleasure, my great pleasure, to offer you a very big welcome, even a huge welcome, to the 60th anniversary celebrations of Sam. And to set the ball rolling and to start the show, we're going to have a few words from two of our adopted Scots friends from the continent of Europe. And the first one is a man who chooses to call himself Oor Wullie. And if you go onto the website and the forum and you see the avatar, you see Oor Wullie sitting on his bucket. So let's listen first, he's on film, to Willie van der Linden.
Take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. As you know, my friends, I'm afraid of flying. And that's one of the reasons why I have decided not to come. It would have been the 13th time to visit your country. 13, an unlucky number. Glenfiddich, Roy Lochnagar, William Lawson. Black pudding, Scottish salmon and haggis. Butcher Cumberland, the Battle of Culloden, Bonnie Prince Charles, Mary Queen of Scots, Pat Manuel, Norman and Dorothy Spears, and so many other Scottish friends. I love Scotland. Maybe you remember that 10 years ago I won the Pilgrim Trust competition with Highland Road. Sometime later I visited the Edinburgh Cine and Video Society. And in 2007, I presented a Belgian film show. I only have sweet memories of Scotland. And that's why these two pewter quocks are the most precious trophies that I ever received. Long live Sam. Cheers.
Our other visitor, other speaker from abroad, another adopted Scot, is here for the third time this year in Scotland, which just shows that she really belongs partly here. Romy is everybody's friend, Romy van Krieken.
This is not part of the speech yet, so don't clock me. I just want to explain my somewhat shoddy appearance. I will change for this evening, and then I'll be wearing what I should have been wearing now. So if my speech doesn't make sense, it's because I'm not properly dressed, and not because of the speech itself. Once I said that the reason why I love watching amateur films is because quite often they are better than the commercial ones. The reason I hang out with people twice my age is because they are far more spirited. I'm sorry, you are, but you're far more interesting than my peers are. And the reason why I chat with everybody is because you're also frightfully nice to let me. And all these things were confirmed once more when earlier this year I attended my very first SAM event, on the occasion of which the members decided, or I rather suspect Dorothy decided, that they were going to play a game of Pass the Parcel across Scotland with me as the parcel, which was very interesting, very enjoyable, and well, let's just say I'd only been to Scotland twice before, and I have been twice since, so that should give you an idea. The reason why I love the country, before I met the inhabitants and, of course, the members of SAM in particular, is firstly because I love the rain. And don't laugh, my mother has the toddler pictures to prove it. And the other reason is this is the only place where I don't have to explain myself, getting irritated when people claim that I'm from Holland rather than the Netherlands. For the uninitiated, Holland is only a part of the Netherlands, and it's usually mistaken for the entire country because it holds the capital city and the seat of government. And for all of you who like to go down to the pub for a quiz, it is the only European country where capital and government are not in the same city. And since you are kind enough to acquaint me further with your country, I'll give you one more tidbit about mine. The Netherlands has the oldest national anthem in the world, dating back to 1570, providing Wikipedia is to be believed. It is 15 verses long, which only the biggest fanatics know by heart. And frankly, it is a bit silly. Not being a fanatic, I only know the very first verse, in which we claim to be of German blood, and we pledge allegiance to the King of Spain. But at least in the international spirit of the Dutch anthem, I can now declare myself proud to be Scottish. Thank you.
Right, we are about to make a very special presentation this afternoon, and so we needed a very special Master of Ceremonies. And that being the case, who should we call upon but Dave Watterson.
Thank you, Pat. Well, this afternoon, someone, this is your life. Could it be you? 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 Well, no. On this occasion, after 60 glorious years, who else could it be? This afternoon, Sam, this is your life. Is Sam with us? Well, yes, of course he is, because who else could we have to represent Sam but his best loved member, Mr. Memory himself, Dr. Norman Spears. Please, Norman. Please come and take a seat.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to challenge that memory of yours this afternoon. Let me take you back, if not to the beginning, then as near as anyone here can get to it.
What I remember about the SAAC as it was then, that we had a meeting to determine the Constitution.
Do you know that voice?
That sounds like Willie Coburn. Now, he must be about our oldest surviving member of SAAC and SAM.
He is indeed, and sadly he's too frail to come and visit us in person, but we have the next best thing and a video link. So let's hear from him.
What I remember about the SAAC as it was then, that we had a meeting to determine the Constitution, which was chaired by Donald Elliott of the SFC, Scottish Film Council. This was held in Glasgow, and Donald Elliott lived in Edinburgh, and the last train, I don't remember what time it left, but it certainly left during the time we had the meeting for the Constitution, and I've never known any meeting that went past so quickly. A lot of the old names I've forgotten, probably fortunately. To come up to date, recently I found a fellow in Perth who had a a cinema in his attic, and he invited me to see some films. So up we went to the attic, and he sat me down. He had about 20 chairs there, all tip-up chairs, and he proceeded to show me a film of himself in a cowboy outfit singing a song. How queer is that? I'm 91, and I'm looking forward to the next 9 years where I'll be 100, and I'll still be making films of a kind. And finally, a very happy 60th anniversary. I can't quite believe it's 60 years since we sat in a little room in Glasgow and talked about the future of the Scottish filmmaking fraternity.
That was, of course, Sam's honorary vice president. We're going to be stirring up a lot more memories for you, Norman. And to help start the first one is Mr. Richard Donaldson. Would you like to come forward, please, and join us? Norman, tell us about this character.
Well, go back to 1977. We had an annual general meeting in Crieff Hydro, and things weren't good at that time. We needed a new secretary, a new treasurer, and poor Edward Aldington, as chairman, had resigned because of ill health. And things were not good. There was even a motion to wind up the SAAC and close the whole thing down. And then a comparatively new member, one Richard Donaldson, said, "OK, I'll have a go at being secretary." And then John Smith, late John Smith, said, "Well, if a youngster like him can be secretary, I'll have a go at being treasurer." And with two of the important jobs filled, I felt, well, at least I could do a bit to have a go at being chairman. And if it wasn't for Richard, we wouldn't have been here today. We would have been wound up in 1977. So, thank you, Richard.
Oh, that's
I suspect you have your own version of this piece of history, Richard.
my memory's not even as good as Norman, believe it or not. But I had forgotten about the possibility of winding it up, because everything kind of started for me on that day, and I'd forgotten there was a threat that it might fold up. But that's true. So what were we? The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Which was which?
Is it true there was a plot to make sure that he became chairman?
There were many plots to make sure that Norman stayed for as long as we could all have him, and I'm quite sure today even people will still be plotting to keep you around, Norman, helping out with all these things that go on, because you've certainly put your stamp in this organisation year after year after year, with, of course, Dorothy's help, with which she wouldn't have managed, I'm sure.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. Come on. And we've had the perfect link there, because we can't let the gentleman have all the limelight. It's time we should meet a very special lady in the life of Sam and in the life of Norman. Mrs. Sam, Dorothy Spears, please come and join us. Now, I could tell you a lot about Dorothy's work for Sam, but I'm not going to. For that, I'm going to call upon someone who's been a lifelong friend of Norman and Dorothy, and someone you all know. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brian Dunkley.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems rather strange standing here and not having Norman's camera pointing at me. Now, it is said that behind every good male filmmaker there is a woman who'd rather be shopping. But not so with Dorothy, because Dorothy is always there in the front, leading, inspiring, encouraging. And we all know that without her work, there wouldn't be a Sam now. She's also very much an astute judge, as we all know. Her way of encouraging people is not to put them down, but make them feel that they have actually got something and pushing it forward. And I think there's a lot of people who may well have given up if it hadn't been for some of Dorothy's critiques. So, naturally, Dorothy's catering skills are legendary, and I don't think we need to go into that at all. To me, I believe every club, every organisation should have a Dorothy. And I've had the privilege of knowing Dorothy and Norman for, well, since the 60s anyway. And to me, it is a great privilege that they call me friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian Dunkley. Dorothy, amongst your many contributions to SAM, I think has been encouraging the role of women in the organisation.
Indeed.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, please?
I should.
Are you
I should.
happy to stand?
Excuse me, but I shall read what I want to say. I've been asked to say something about the influence that the ladies, not women, ladies have in SAM. Sorry, babe. When I first joined the SAC meetings in 1969, I became aware of 3 lady filmmakers. Nettie McGavin, who worked with her husband Matt, producing excellent travel films. Alison Coleman, who made excellent films of local events long before her husband John embraced the hobby. And Avril Murdoch, of whom you will hear much more, because we're delighted to say that her daughter is here this afternoon, Valerie, and we'll hear more about Valerie's parents. At that time, the other ladies, most of them, helped with making the teas, and I was asked to join the tea-making team. In the early days, the committee was very much a male preserve, quite a contrast to the present, when the ladies are an essential part in the administration of SAM, holding the main offices such as chairman, secretary, and treasurer. If you study the recent trophy winners, you will be well aware that it is the ladies' names which are engraved there. Gentlemen, you will have to look to your laurels to catch up with this feminine competition. As Dorothy Borey said to me recently, this is a hobby where men and women can compete fairly together. So overall, the ladies are an essential part of our membership. Not only the prize winners and those on the committee, but those who accompany their filmmaking husbands to all the meetings for a friendly chat and a pleasant afternoon. By the way, the SAM teas are still legendary, and I'm still in the tea-making team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dorothy. I thought I'd better take over the role that has been spoken of as being mainly for the ladies, which is no longer true.
Thank you very much.
Norman, would you like at this stage? All right. Because, Norman, I want to challenge your memory now. Over on that table there, we have some impressive silverware. And if Jean likes to pick up one of them at random, let's challenge your memory and see how much you can remember of these various trophies and where they came from.
Now, that one is the W.S. Smith Trophy. I've never won it. It's for the best film in our annual competition. Now, what does W.S. Smith mean? Well, William Smith was one of our founder members, along with Willie Coburn and Frank Marshall and the others. And he worked in the Scottish Film Council as a technical officer. And he, in fact, was our first SAAC secretary. And in the Film Council, his sister worked, and that was Mattie Smith. And she used to come to a lot of our meetings, especially the Crieff workshop weekends. She enjoyed these. And when her brother died, she had this cup made and presented it to SAAC for use in our competitions. So that then is the aim of all our members, to get to the top of the competition.
I think perhaps it's time for us to see one or two of the films which have reached that level. I think we have some clips ready, gentlemen, and let us take a look at some movies.
Joe. Joe, I thought you...
What? Popped out for a newspaper?
What a morning. Weird or what? I was reading this magazine and it was as though the picture came alive. I mean, not so much alive, but as though it was trying to tell me something, like, you know, like, oh, I told you it was weird. Shouldn't you be resting?
Not anymore.
This awful whispering sound. Honest to God. Scary.
Ugh. Just like the ex-wife.
No. The sound is like...
Like ripples in the wind.
I knew you'd love it. Oh, that's been there for a while. So much for coffee.
Hey.
I swear I'm going nuts or something. 2 sugars, isn't it?
Whatever it takes, my dear.
I thought you were.
I know.
You are going to give me some kind of warning. I don't know. A token. A single red rose. Red is for passion. Passionate love. Yeah, that's not our game. Nice soup. I was going to bury you in that. A white rose, perhaps. Nah. White is for innocence. That's not us either.
Robin, let's challenge your memory again, and another piece of silverware here. What's this?
And that looks like the Lazar salver. Now, perhaps many of you know the Lazar's firm, with branches throughout Scotland, opticians and photographic dealers. And they presented us with this trophy to be used in our competitions. Now, looking through our records, it was used in different ways. One reference is to an audience vote in the competition. Another reference is to the best film in the intermediate group. Now, what's an intermediate film? Anyway, what we do now is to give it to the runner-up to the best film. So the Lazar's trophy, the Lazar salver, is for the runner-up film in our SAAC competition. So
Well,
can we see some excerpts from that?
Indeed, I'm sure that can be arranged.
The geese arrive in huge flocks to spend the winter at the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust Reserve at Caerlaverock. They are a truly amazing sight, arriving in their tens of thousands to feed on the grasslands there. The Caerlaverock Nature Reserve is situated on the Solway Firth and about 9 miles south of Dumfries, so it is easily accessible from both sides of the border. Although at first sight it resembles the Canada goose, the barnacle goose is smaller and plumper with a white face. The Canada goose has a black face with a white chin strap. Canada geese are considered a pest in some areas and are regularly shot. Barnacle geese are protected by law. The barnacle geese that winter on the Solway are called the Svalbard group. They migrate to Spitsbergen in the spring to breed and arrive back on the Solway at the end of September. Their return is triggered by the shortening day, and they arrive exhausted by the long sea flight. Barnacle geese feed in large, tightly packed flocks, more concentrated than any other goose. They obtain most of their food by grazing with a rapid pecking action. As the sward gets shorter, they peck faster, up to 200 pecks per minute. Geese generally pair for life with a divorce rate of less than 2%, thought to be usually due to partners losing one another during migration. The long-distance flights of geese are remarkable, considering that they do not soar or glide like seabirds or birds of prey, but have to keep flapping all the way.
I think that very much proves, Norman, what we always say as judges, that the difference between the top prize and the runners-up can be very, very small indeed.
You're right.
But there's a lot more silverware over here. Now let's see if you can identify this strange piece.
Now that one is the Loudon salver. Now it was presented by one of our SAAC members, Mr. R.A.L. Loudon, and nobody knows what the R.A.L. stands for. He's always been known as Mr. R.A.L. Loudon. And he decided that encouragement should be given to the newcomers. So he made this trophy for the best film by a novice filmmaker. He was a good filmmaker himself, and he actually won the W.S. Smith Trophy in 1958 himself. Now,
So let's have a look at some of them, shall we?
There's a mouse underneath it.
Right.
Hold on a wee minute. And I'll go.
Right. Come on, me pussy.
Up here. Watch.
Nicey. Nicey.
Here it comes.
Nicey.
Watch. Stand out the road. Granny's filming. Watch. One hold up to the straw then. See if there's any. I know, hold the catch to it.
I nearly caught the mouse. See that fell off?
Wait a minute. What?
No, it's not. It hasn't got one. No, it went away to the back.
Oh, it's got it. It's got a wee mouse.
Got it!
Has it?
Let's see!
It's got a wee mouse. Got a wee mouse.
Let's see! Look! Oh, it's the way in there. Look! Come and see. Look! See it? Yeah! Yeah!
piece of silverware just to challenge the man's memory now, please. Thank you very much, Jean. Now, that's a beautiful cup.
Now, this one looks spanking new. It's not. It's just been replaced in silver because it was getting a bit worn. It was known originally as the Avondale Trophy. And that was a trophy that Lanark, the Lanark Cine Club, used to have. And then it was given to the SAAC for the best club film on a set theme. And we held this competition in Lanark, and it's always been in Lanark, at the beginning of the season. And being a Lanark, John Coleman, who was a Lanark member, was the one who used to compare it. John Coleman was a Welshman with a wonderful sense of humour and a gift for telling a good story. And as the years went on, the audiences grew, and it was, in fact, the biggest attendance of all the events of SAM or SAAC during the year. And we never quite knew whether it was the films that were shown or whether it was John Coleman's stories that attracted the people. Anyway, poor John, who was a pharmacist in Carnwath, he died a few years ago, and in recognition of all his years of presenting the Strathclyde event, we decided to change the name from Avondale to the John Coleman Trophy. A club event with a set theme. So, can we see some of the...
I'm sure we can. If the men will work the magic, please.
Oh, here comes Isabel. It's a sad day for you, Isabel. How are you feeling?
Not too bad, thanks. The doctor gave me some tablets for my nerves. It's just a worry of not knowing what killed David. I mean, he was so fit, and the post-mortem revealed nothing.
Now remember, Isabel, if there's anything we can do, you only have to ask.
Thanks, girls. You've been such good friends. If you'll excuse me.
Yes,
Well, she certainly is a stunner. I bet she won't be a widow for long.
Policy in the life of David Shepton for £250,000. My little gold mine. And one single ticket to New York.
Isabel, darling, you know the doctor told you not to drink when you were taking the tablets he gave you.
Sod the doctor. A few glasses of wine won't harm me. No, Ken, no. I told you we can't be seen together for a few months till everything blows over. You know how people talk.
There's no one around.
Look, I said no and I mean no.
I must see you. I think about you all the time. Not being able to hold you or touch you is more than I can bear.
I said a few months, and a few months I mean.
Oh, you're a cruel woman, Isabel. Sometimes I think you were just using me and my knowledge of obscure tropical poisons to get rid of your husband. I shudder when I think what I did for you. If they cremated him, a day or two later, poisons would have started to show. His body would have started turning green. What was that you were hiding when I came in?
It was nothing important.
Well, you won't mind me having a look. So, you recently insured him for £250,000. What's this? A single ticket to New York. I was right. You were just using me.
Think what you'll like.
Oh, I shall, and I think you were just using me. You know, I could go to the police. I could tell them everything.
Oh, go ahead. But your word against mine. Where's the evidence? There's no body. There's no body.
This last of the trophies here is one I wish we had Willie van der Linden here to introduce, because it's the Murdoch Quaich. And Norman, you're going to get a bit of help with this one. Can I ask you to come forward, please, madam? Thank you. Do you like to stand just between them there? That's it. Valerie Dean, née Murdoch. Perhaps you would like to tell us a little bit about this lady, Norman.
Well, we have had a lot of connections with the Murdochs. Averil Murdoch and Willie Murdoch were two of our staunchest members of SAAC. They went to every meeting. They were a great inspiration to us all. Valerie herself was a member of SAAC, and she starred in some of our productions. Remember Present for the Groom?
We don't forget.
And Bacon Creef. A lovely film, great film. She's one of our great admirers, and we admire Valerie too.
Thank you.
So when, unfortunately, her parents died, it was Valerie who decided to commemorate their memory with the marvellous Quaich, which we get, and present it to the best 5-minute film in each year's competition. Do you remember how long ago it was, Valerie?
I don't. It must have been in the 80s sometime.
Quite a while ago, yes.
But the competition itself gone a lot longer, hasn't it?
The competition was going on for quite a long time before that, yes. And it was just called the 5-minute competition. In fact, the prizes were cash prizes. And I seem to remember the first prize was £5, second film got £3, and the third place got £2. And in fact, £2 could buy you a roll of Kodachrome film. £1, 12 shillings, I think it was.
Funnily enough, looking at these trophies, I can remember when I worked for the Scottish Film Council, I was also incidentally I was secretary to one of the SAAC secretaries, Douglas Gray.
Oh, yes.
Followed by Ronnie McCluskey.
Yes.
And Mattie Smith was in full swing at those days. And I can remember her making us lesser mortals polish the trophies before the festival.
Oh, great, great.
But if I can mention something about the festival, my father had a Bolex G3 projector, which showed 8, 9, 5 and 16 millimetre. And he was using that a lot during the SAAC festivals and the big SAFF.
Yes.
And there was an occasion when I think he had another projector. One of the problems with the Cosmo Cinema, later the Glasgow Film Theatre, was that when they were trying to project a winning 8mm film, they just hadn't got the throw to get it from the projection box. And my father had a projector, not the Bolex, but a later one, which had enough power to project from the front of the balcony onto the big screen. And that was the first time that 8mm films could be shown in the Cosmo.
Yes, it was your father had a great technical ability, and he loved tinkering with things and getting extra brightness out of the lamps and so on.
I think he would probably have been fascinated by what is done now with digitisation and camcorders.
Yes.
What is your own earliest memory of getting involved in filmmaking, Valerie?
No. 1951.
What were you doing?
It was the UNICA, l'Union Internationale du Cinéma d'Amateur,
Well done.
having a congress which was based between Glasgow and Edinburgh. And it was the time of the Festival of Britain, and there was this parade of 1,000 pipers, which was supposed to march down Princes Street.
Yeah.
One half was starting off from, I don't quite know, maybe the Mound. The other lot was coming down from outside the city chambers. And as it happened, the men in the party were all taken off to a vantage point to get the procession. The ladies were left in the city chambers, where we had a civic reception in those days. We were on the balcony in front of it, overlooking the high street. The pipers were coming out from behind St Giles, swinging round and going down. And I had my father's H8 camera then, and I managed to film this lot setting off. But the crowds down in Princess Street were so great that the two contingents never ever met up. And the Parade of the Thousand Pipers never actually took place. And I had only a bit of film.
Oh, well done. Thank you very much indeed, ma'am. Come on, Steve. I think we have some films to show from the 5-minute competition. Have we, gentlemen? Yeah, let's have a look at those. Well, we've talked about the annual award-winning events, but we should at least talk about the great fun event in the SAM calendar. Norman, the workshop weekend is rather special, isn't it?
It's a thing that's been going from the very beginning. In fact, at the very first meeting, there are various notes and references to the things they're going to do. And one of them definitely was a weekend form of film instruction. So this has been going on right from 1949. For a long time it's been in Crieff Hydro. Other places we've been to, we went to Dunblane, we've been in Carnoustie. One year on a very, very wet day, we've been to Stirling University. We've come here. Again on a very, very wet day. Anyway, it's all been organised by Brian Saberton for many years, and he has done a sterling job.
Let's see if we can't get him to come and say a word for himself too. Come on, out from the back of there, Don.
Well, I took over the organising of the workshop, I think it was 1987, and I did not imagine that I would still be organising it in 2009. They won't let me give it up. It seems to be, I seem to have got a permanent job for life. But over the years it's evolved and changed quite a lot, and the basic philosophy is very simple. You learn more by having fun. And we hope it's an enjoyable day, but it still has a very serious purpose, and that's to improve the standard and quality of filmmaking and to give club members the opportunity to make films, to make fiction films, which they maybe wouldn't otherwise do, and hopefully take that back to their clubs and improve the films that the clubs are making. And I think over the years we have seen a general improvement in the standard of films, certainly at the workshop, which we've now got to be careful not to call it Crieff, because it isn't Crieff anymore. But 2 years ago we decided to move away and come here, and I think it's given the workshop a new lease of life, because the conference facilities here are so good. It means we can do a lot better for the Sunday morning. As I say, it really is a very enjoyable day. The delegates come along, they split up into groups, and they have a day to make a film. It's a bit like a reality TV show, except we were doing this before the TV people even thought about it. Anyway, I was asked to select a film to show today that would really represent what the workshop is all about. It was very difficult to choose one because there's some terrific films that have been made. But I've picked one from 2003. It was made by a group who called themselves the Highland Group, and it's called Lost in the Post. So we'll have a look at Lost in the Post.
Thank you.
Why did I agree to get out with that sleazeball? He's such a creep. He makes my flesh crawl. Really need this job. No, I can't. I can't. It's just not worth it. I'd rather starve first.
You're not even nearly ready. I told you 6:45, we'll miss the curtain.
I'll miss more than the curtain. I'm not going.
Are you absolutely sure about that?
Quite sure. I wouldn't be seen dead with a slime ball like you.
I wouldn't go as far as that. But you might very well find yourself alone and unemployed.
That may be the case. However, I may not like you, but I'll still like myself. So I'm now going to slam this door, and you can leave your fingers there or take them with you. Please yourself.
Well, it's all right as far as it goes, Jean, but it doesn't really fit the option that you were given.
What do you mean?
Well, weren't you supposed to be filming A Change is as Good as a Rest?
I thought you said arrange to be rude to a pest.
I think with typical modesty, Brian forgot to mention that the most popular screening of all during the SAM year is of the video record he makes of all the other workshop teams having their best attempt at making a movie in a great hurry. Well, I'm sorry, Norman and Dorothy, that we've had to make you crane your necks around so much to see the films and share it with the audience. But I'm sure you won't mind doing so for the two final movie clips, because we have what must have been one of Sam's finest hours. In 2004, Sam won both the IAC Mermaid and the Mini Mermaid competitions, leading to suggestions that perhaps Hadrian's Wall should be rebuilt. Let's have a look at those award-winning films.
Yes, please.
2 bags of chips, Paul.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
220, please.
No.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
How much is this?
This is top of the range, of course. £73,249.
OK, we'll have 2 of them.
No, no, no. I'll get these. You got the chips.
You can imagine the dismay on the other ISC regions' faces when they found those in front of them. Sam would never have been what it is today if it had stayed in isolation here in Scotland. It's benefited from the help and the support of many people from south of the border and even further afield. Those who've come and given us their encouragement, who've given us their judgments on films, and have given presentations. And we'd like to ask all of those people now, please, to stand up. Please, all of those people who've judged or given a presentation for Sam, stand up. Elise wants to give you a little token of thanks. Come on, let's get them all up and on their feet, because we have quite a lot of them here. Elise is just dealing first of all with Linda and Michael Goff. And you may have to pass one along there to Derek Matheson, who's hiding shyly in the middle of the back row, as is his wont. Not quite sure who this fellow is, but he's obviously done a lot of good things. He's Brian Dunkley. Romy van Krieken, who we've noticed earlier on. There's another odd exception just over here, really called Jan Waterson. Thank you all very much indeed.
There should also be one for that
where's Doug?
Yes.
Doug Collender. Right at the back. Doug Collender. I'm sorry, Doug.
Doug?
Of course, Doug Collender from Newcastle. Can you get in? Thank you. I'm hiding away like the shy wee Rosie is. Oh,
Val?
They're all being too modest.
Too modest.
Or perhaps they were just hiding behind Brian. Val Ellis, come on. Let's have you as well, please. Who's her?
Betty. Betty.
Betty Jennings.
Betty. 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 Yes.
Let's make sure we got everyone now. Past the lot. Right, have we covered all our help now? Marvellous. Thank you very much indeed. Sorry?
All right, if you're too shy to stand up, we'll give you each a special one.
Thank you very much.
Who could deserve it better?
Did you not get one, Dee?
No, I didn't get one.
Oh, good. Dee didn't. However, we have a very special.
Oh, thank you. Always loved Edinburgh Rock. Thank you very much. Well, that's Sam's past. But right now, we're lucky enough to have with us, I think, 6 past chairmen of the organisation. And I wonder if they'd like to come and stand with me here in front of all of us by the screen. First of all, of course, the man who's been our Mr. Memory all afternoon, Dr. Norman Spears. Please, Norman. Thank you. I think the only one who's been chairman for at least 3 of the 3-year sessions, which is supposed to be the maximum.
That's right. What is the maximum?
Yeah. Brian Saberton. Elise Phimister. Now, the other gentleman who's been hiding behind the projectors all day, Ken MacDonald. And I think the only occasion, probably in any film organisation, where a husband has been followed in office by his wife, Jean MacDonald. And just showing them all how they should be dressed as chairman, Alex Forbes. I have a feeling there's somebody who I've missed, and it can only be Pat Menmuir, our present chairman. Please, Pat. This has been Sam's life. These have been its parents, the members have been its children, and all of you here are part of the extended family of Sam. We can only hope that Sam will go on, thriving and growing as long as there are amateur filmmakers in Scotland. Norman, as the most easily recognised, the best beloved member of Sam and its honorary president, I want to say to you, Sam, this is your life.
May I just intervene 1 minute, because there is a tailpiece to this story, which Elise Phimister is going to deal with.
Well, we're all enjoying this wonderful celebration thanks to the hard work of many people. This afternoon we've had a wonderful show thanks to the organisation mainly of one person. And as a token of our thanks, may I present this scroll to Jean Ronald.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our entertainment. And I do want to say we were under armed threat from that end and our producer to finish at 5:30, and we almost made it. Thank you, Jean. Thank you all, everybody.
You don't have to give a speech. You just
Cold fingers, somebody else with cold fingers.
Now, all the excerpts you see, they're now on tapes received.
And I saw you geese again, which was a pleasure. See you later. Lovely to have you. Don't worry. Did you enjoy that? A bit of a different angle. Lovely film.
You did really well. Need to certify and get all these pictures.
And I'm going to desktop. What's this lady? Oh, it's so nice to have you here. You can't afford this, Brian. Then you do a great job. Looking back over the history of SAAC and Sam, one of the people, in spite of his youth, who has been at the core of that from a very, very early age.
I was little.
You were little, yes. Yeah. Is, of course, Brian. And we thought it would be very, very appropriate to ask Brian to cut the cake for Sam's 60th anniversary.
It's a great honour. It's a great honour to cut the Sam cake at the 60th anniversary, and I've had strict instructions even how to cut it. No, to ensure an equitable distribution of said cake at the end of the evening. I have to put it this way. So, are you ready, guys? Here we go.
Take two. The camera wasn't ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to make your way through to the bar for your dinner is about to be served. Thank you very much.